troubles come and my heart burdened be, and I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit away with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong and I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong and I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong and I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Can you hear that? You hear those waters? Those are your waters, here where they begin, in the northern Catskill Mountains. Anageya, way ha, way ha, way ha, no way ha, way ha, no ya, way ha, 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 ha. We no way, we no way, we are, we no way, we yo, he we are, way ha ya, way ha, way ha, way ya. Wado Waduhi Aragea. Osio, tuju. Shatanana dagudo. Ane wahia Elisi ale teknoliski. Nde haheshka tashoma. And a Plano Arawaka woman too, all rolled into one. It is my honor to offer words and speak to the folks who are still holding that land to this day from under the ground and from the other side camp, to speak to those spirits on this land that you call Manhattan, that was originally called Mannahatta by many of the people there. I've asked, or rather thanked, all those spirits from here, where your water comes from. Here in the northern Catskill Mountains, where we are, Amayiniyagi, we are the water source for you. I'm thanking them for helping us, and I'm thanking those grandparents for helping us as well, especially the grandmothers. So I offered those grandmothers a woman's honor song, so that they, large or small, would give us special attention today. Uaduhi anedudi ale anelisi, sha wachitoligi ahani. Ani otari, ani tawagi, ani amagi. Halstela gohiga gohiesa, halstela na anagea ahana. Igohida. Sha wachitoligi, gali iliga, anali iliga. Ane dudi ale ane lisi na Mannahatta agea anagea lunapeg min matinakak oh umpachag shinakak ganyagahaga algonkan other Haudenosaunee, even my own Chalagi people who moved through there at one time. Here daste ale halsila near the list to the ale halsila na anagea. Here daste ale halsila near the list to the gohiga gohiesa ale igohida anagea ahana na gadante hel. I am remembering them. Ni andisti gulakori halstila. This sacred memory, help us to remember. Help us. I know you can. I know you are. Here the dastele halsila ni the dolis tori gohiga. Kuhisnoye ale egohida. Wado. Cooey!
Greetings to everyone. I am so sad that I cannot be joining you live in this sacred, holy, and virtual space. But grateful for the gift of technology that I might be able to join you in this way. Many of you may know that I had an accident that accident have left me with nerve damage, and it may have taken the fluency of my speech, but it has not taken my voice. I have said that before and will continue to declare, so that I may join my voice with yours today, this 10th year of the Remembrance and Gratitude Service, which is a milestone of recalling sacred memory and offering deepest gratitude. And for this sisterhood of grace and strength, in the persons of Reverend Audrey Kitagawa, Sacred Mother, I give thanks for you, Reverend Denise Scotto, my sister. I give thanks, my comrades, friends, Grove Harris, my Monica Willard. I give thanks, and we have a gratitude for you for making sure we continue to hold space for this important gathering. And it is on your prayers, the wings of your prayers, that I have made it through. And for this, I will always be grateful. For all of you, I am grateful. I want to just give a brief offering in a song, and in the whispers. There is no stammer. So I want to offer this to you as we come together to remember and give thanks. Maya Angelou says, "Let gratitude be the pillow upon which you kneel and say your nightly prayers, and let faith be the bridge you build to overcome evil and welcome good." Amidst the world's traumas and tragedies, we still must give thanks. And in the face of war and violence and human suffering, we still must remember and give thanks. So let us pray. For sacred memory, we give thanks. For restoring community, we give thanks. For trailblazing women, we give thanks. For the legacy of hope and transformation, we remember and give thanks. For the gift of love and peace that will guide us, we give thanks. For all those who've crossed the great divide, we give thanks. For they will never be forgotten. We remember and give thanks. For the generations yet to come, who keep fighting for peace and justice, we give thanks. For all those who have paved the way, we remember and give thanks. Now may gratitude continue to be the pillow upon which we kneel to pray. And may our faith be the strong bridge on which we keep on building and building to overcome evil and welcome good. For these things we pray, we remember and give thanks today and forevermore. And we say, Ashe, Ashe, Amen. Shalom and amen.
Good afternoon, everyone. And what a beautiful way to start this program with a recognition of the sacred land of the indigenous peoples upon which the United Nations and Manhattan are built upon. And we give our appreciation to Reverend Dionne for her moving welcome of gratitude and thanksgiving, which was especially meaningful in the demonstration of her strength and commitment to be with us today. Thank you, Joan Henry and Reverend Dionne. And it's so wonderful to welcome in 2024 on this beautiful international convening of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women's Annual Conference. This is our 10th annual Interfaith Service of Gratitude and Remembrance as a side event to this international convening. And this is such a fitting way to remember the important work of the United Nations and the many dedicated international civil servants, NGOs, and people all over the world who have worked hard for the advancement of women throughout the world. The United Nations has been the leading guiding institution that has created from its inception the beautifully inspired, and deeply spiritual foundational documents that have articulated important principles of our sacred relationality to each other, our earth, and to life itself. Though there may be many conflicts and challenges around the world and within our own countries and communities, we must always be in remembrance of those that have helped to pave the way before us, to bring us these important initiatives and documents of peace and respectful civil engagement that helps to pave the way for future generations to come and the present work with which we are involved. We recognize the Commission on the Status of Women, CSW for short, as the untiring advocate for gender equality and the empowerment of women. Women from all over the world are here now in the vicinity of UN headquarters in New York City, meeting, convening, presenting, and sharing with each other, just as we are doing here today with all of you. CSW plays a critical leadership role to ensure that the work of the United Nations has a positive impact on the lives of women that go deeply into the country level. It has also participated in the creation of documents such as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, arguing against the word men as a synonym for humanity, and introducing more inclusive language into the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and subsequent documents. CSW was involved in many declarations and policies, including the landmark Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which addresses women's rights in political, social, economic, cultural, and family life, and legally binds all ratifying parties. We thank the CSW and the many individuals and organizations responsible for creating frameworks for human rights and peace, and we acknowledge these documents as living instruments both in substance and procedures, that have provided authoritative guidance to states creating laws and policies and are referred to in courts of law to protect human rights. The foundational documents of the United Nations, including the UN Charter and the Universal Declarations of Human Rights, provide a framework for world peace and security. And the preamble of the UN Charter affirms its faith in the equal rights of men and women. And the Charter itself promotes the values of peace, security, freedom, and well-being, provided succinct guidelines for achieving and maintaining harmony in accordance with these values. I want to call your attention to the important UN Security Council Resolution 1325, which is adopted on October 31st, 2000, and reaffirmed the important role of women in the prevention and resolution of conflicts, peace negotiations, peace building, peacekeeping, humanitarian response, and in post-conflict reconstruction, and stresses the importance of women's equal participation and full involvement in all efforts for the maintenance and promotion of peace and security. Resolution 1325 further urges all actors to increase the participation of women and incorporate gender perspectives in all United Nations peace and security efforts. This service is a service of remembrance and gratitude, and we remember these seminal actions through the agency of the United Nations and its commissions and departments that have supported the empowerment of women. And we express our deepest appreciation and gratitude to all of those who have made the advancement of women possible and recognize the central role which women play in the peace and security agenda of world affairs. This great history gives us much hope, inspiration, and a continuous commitment to bring forth the ethical, spiritual, and moral principles which these foundational documents set forth. So thank you so much for joining with us today.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever around the world folks are joining us. So grateful to be part of this service of gratitude and remembrance today. And I wanted to ask us to lift up the role of reporters. I think we all know that they support us in our advocacy efforts by documenting what is going on around the world, their efforts towards truth-telling, their efforts towards defending democracy, giving us what we need to know in local communities and in international news. And at the same time, they face incredible risks. This past year has been particularly difficult for reporters. All around the globe, there's a facing of disappearances. Reporters are jailed. Sometimes their families are harassed. And in the past year, we have the war that is one of the deadliest wars so far for our media personnel happening in Gaza. I want to recommend to you a Washington Post article where reporters themselves took on the sacred work of lifting up the names of those who had been killed. At that time, there were over 78. Now it's been reported perhaps 95, perhaps 103. As we think of reporters, women and men, some of whom work for international agencies, some of whom are independent, and some of whom are themselves taking on the sacred work of getting out the news, reporting what is happening to them for the benefit of the whole world. This article listed so many names that I can't read them in our service today, but we will put them in the book of names. And I would recommend it as an exercise of honoring their dignity. I found for myself that in reading their names, having their Arabic, mostly names, in my mouth, feeling those vowels and nouns and the sounds of those words was really a way to make real for me the kind of commitment that's being made by others of our kin, people who are in solidarity with us at wanting the best for our world and willing to put their lives on the line in order to deliver that. So just a moment of a breath of silence to hold for the sanctity of those who have lost their lives, please. Thank you. I know that there are many agencies, and the UN will have World Press Freedom Day on May 3rd. The Committee to Protect Journalists, Reporters Without Borders, many are working on this to honor these sacrifices. We are not alone in lifting up those sacrifices. And I want us also to think about the role of this kind of reporting in larger democracy, and to know that the way our world is turning so fast now, with the speed of the news cycle, with everyone counting the exact number of views and hits and the demands on it, that there are many journalists who are losing their jobs. There are many outlets that are closing in the shifting of media, so that we need to keep a special eye moving forward to where are we getting our truth? Are we funding local journalists to cover local news? Are we getting news that's reputable? Are we diversifying our news inputs so that we can have the information that comes at us as information rather than as hype? And in our sense of remembrance, I want us to include ourselves, because our work is not served when we become ones who constantly have to be plugged into the latest news. It's important to be able to take in news and process it and have feelings and respect and grief, as well as to try and be fully informed in our work for the best of our work. But that self-care is a really critical importance, because our job at this moment in time is to remember and to honor, and also to be able to be joyful in our lives, even when the news is very, very sad. So again, thank you for holding the work of reporters as part of the sacred advocacy that we do here, many of us in New York, many of us at the UN, and that is fed by the information from those around the world taking really large risks. Thank you.
Greetings, friends. It's my deep pleasure to be with everyone today. I'm just so overjoyed that we have with us the Reverend Dionne Boissiere via video, because last year, you may remember, we were holding her in our hearts so deeply. And the intention that we have and the faith that we have really does make a difference and has an impact in each and every one of us. This is Denise Scotto speaking. I don't know why there's a slide up of the New York skyline at night, but I am here. I rest assured you that I am here. And I like to turn to some of our real heavy leaders that we had with us, who I'm remembering today. These leaders are two powerhouses, and many of you may know them because their work still continues on, is seminal, and touches the lives of so many and has influenced so many. The first person I'd like to speak with is an Egyptian and Canadian national. Many people may remember Afaf Mahfouz, who was a psychoanalyst and also someone who had studied law and was teaching law as well. She was a leader within the NGO community in New York, so much so that she was part of the NGO Forum Planning Committee, and this forum was happening parallel to the Fourth World Conference in Beijing. So she was part of the Wairu Planning Committee there. And I have to say that after that, she did mentor many women, and she became a leader within the NGO community in New York, but also in Vienna and Geneva, to ensure the voices and the positions of NGOs around the world would have the ability to have the access to UN officials at UN meetings and within UN documents. So we remember Afaf for her contributions. I'd like to turn now to someone else who many of you know, and whose work really laid the groundwork in the UN for so much that we talk about when we talk about UN Security Council resolutions that deal with the situation of civilians in war and armed conflict. Betty Reardon. Professor Betty Reardon is someone who was the founder of the Peace Education Center and the Peace Degree Program at Teachers College here in New York City at Columbia University. I met Betty when I was working in the UN as a staff person in the Division for the Advancement of Women in the late 1990s. Betty was with us because at that time, the DAW was putting out this monthly sort of newsletter that was called Women 2000 Beyond. We've come a long way since then. And she had a little article in that. But she then was working on a book about the role of women to promote a culture of peace. And many of us have been working on promoting a culture of peace and nonviolence. And this book really looked at it from the woman's standpoint and the real contributions of women and the agency that women had, and how significant it is for women to be involved not only in peace accords and negotiation, but at local levels of their own community. And this goes in line with the theme of, and many of us may remember this, for the old timers, you remember women, peace, and development, right? I mean, this is what we used to talk about way back in the day, 30 years ago. So Betty's contribution really is very longstanding, and along with June Willens, who passed and we remembered some years ago, who put a spotlight on the situation of civilians and women and girls in armed conflict and war, Betty also helped to shape the importance of having a Security Council resolution like 1325 that Audrey had just spoken about in her introduction on the topic, and how this is so important to create more safe, stable, and prosperous societies through the role of women and girls. We talk a lot about the suffering and the way they're treated, but at the same time, we must acknowledge the real importance of the activity of women and their contributions and what they bring. So I'd like to honor Betty at this time too. Finally, we do honor men. And I'm so glad that we're joining with our sisters in sisterhood, but also for those men who are our champions and supporters. And one of these men is Rick Jarrow. And this is a personal tribute to Rick Jarrow because Rick Jarrow was a global persona. He was a professor of religion and spirituality up at Vassar College. He did a lot of interchanges with students, taking them to India, to China, many other countries to explore the world's religions. And Rick was such a teacher. He was a teacher of mine who really started to focus me on meditation in the very early days. Rick had a huge heart. He had that feminine perspective of inclusion and community. So when we talk about men, we can speak about the beauty of the heart and about that relational ability to understand that we are all connected, you and me, men and women, and we're all connected to the earth. As Joan Henry had said, we can't separate that. So again, I'd like to give the tribute to Rick Jarrow and to all the men who have been with us and to hold us and who support us, because we take them up with us as we rise and as we continue to evolve with our own progress. Thank you all, and blessings to everyone.
Thank you, Denise. I would like to remember Daisaku Ikeda, a man, so it's a good segue, Buddhist philosopher, peace builder, educator, author, and poet, and may I personally add feminist. He passed away in Tokyo on November 15th, 2023 at the age of 95. He dedicated his life to promoting peace through dialogue and spearheaded the development of the Soka Gakkai as a community-based Buddhist organization of over 12 million members worldwide. He was born in Tokyo, Japan. His family was engaged in seaweed farming. When he was 13, Japan entered World War II, and his eldest brother was killed in Myanmar. Feeling keenly the cruelty, futility, and waste of war, he devoted his life to building peace. Shortly after the war, he encountered educator and pacifist Josei Toda, who he called his mentor, the second president of Soka Gakkai. He became the third president at the age of 32 years old, and he held that position until 1979. He oversaw the broadening of the Gakkai's mission to include the promotion of peace, culture, and education. I'd like to say that it was really because of him that in 1983, actually SGI was accredited as an NGO in consultative status with the United Nations. And between the years 1983 and 2022, he authored 40 annual peace proposals, providing a Buddhist perspective and concrete suggestions to move forward discourses on key global challenges. He also conducted many dialogues with various prominent global figures. I'd like to just say in relation to women, he said, with women leading the way, when each and every person is aware and committed, we will be able to prevent society from relapsing into the culture of war and foster and nurture energy toward the creation of a century of peace. Thank you.
Fumi and I are honored to offer our prayers and intentions to help distribute these loving remembrances of women.
Greetings to all of you. Our hearts are united as we gather to honor women on the 68th session of the Commission on the Status of Women. We just celebrated International Women's Day, and on that day every year, I remember the famous song by Helen Reddy, who sang these words, "I am strong, I am invincible, I am women." Truly, over the decades, so many women have taken action to influence the destiny of humanity. Today, I would like to honor those women who have dedicated their lives for the betterment of women everywhere, and to all those women who continue to do so today in the remote villages of Asia, in the tribal communities of Africa, and all those wives, mothers, and young women everywhere who continue to improve the status of women. Many who do their work silently without recognition. Let us remember them today as we together travel the world to remember and honor those courageous women who work on our behalf for peace, justice, and freedom to prevail on earth. Infinite gratitude to the women of the world. Infinite gratitude to the women of Europe. May peace prevail on earth. Infinite gratitude to the women of the Middle East. May peace prevail on earth. Infinite gratitude to the women of Asia. May peace prevail on earth. Infinite gratitude to the women of the Pacific. May peace prevail on earth. Infinite gratitude to the women of Africa. May peace prevail on earth. Infinite gratitude to the women of South America. May peace prevail on earth. Infinite gratitude to the women of North and Central America. May peace prevail on earth. Infinite gratitude to the women of all the indigenous nations. May peace prevail on earth. And I welcome you all to join me in saying, may peace prevail on earth to close this offering. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail on earth. Thank you.
The original Big Ben Silent Minute helped to end World War II. In these times, we offer our daily 9 p.m. GMT Global Silent Minute to bring an end to all war, to bring peace to humankind, to all of life, as we call for global cooperation, peace, and freedom. The power of silence is greater than we know. So let us now offer a global silent minute and distribute the energies gathered in this loving remembrance and honoring of those who have gone before us and who continue to inspire our lives. Let us prepare to enter the silence together. With a deep breath, we activate the spirit of peace in our own hearts. And we unite our hearts across distance. And now we invite all those on the other side of the veil to join us. And when you hear the Tibetan singing bowl, we have entered 1 minute of silence as action in sacred unity. May peace prevail on earth. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. This has been an extraordinary service of remembrance and gratitude. And I thank everyone who has participated. I'm Monica Willard, and I represent the United Religions Initiative and have been involved with this program for the last 10 years, along with Audrey Kitagawa and Denise Scotto. We have brought together to remember those whose legacy we stand on, particularly those who are involved with the UN and with this Commission on the Status of Women, particularly women, because we want to remember and share the importance that they have played at the United Nations and in our lives. We are about to go into a time where you participate in this service. I want to start by saying I'm in Black now for the women in Black who we hold in our hearts on Thursdays, who have died through violence. And it's impossible to write all of their names into a memory book. But it isn't possible to forget. So as we hold our grief, it helps to share it. And each of us have someone who has died who's been important to you, and particularly those who put you in connection with the United Nations. This is your time to participate with the chat room, to add the names you would like us to add in our book of remembrance. This book holds some of the past programs, some of the highlights, some pictures, but it has held the chat rooms for the last 3 years. So we pray not only for the person who's important to you, but your name shows up in the chat box. So you are also added to this book. So I invite everyone to put a name into the chat book, and we will be reading them out loud as we listen to the amazing and beautiful harp music of Tami Briggs, who's going to be helping me read some of the names that come up in the chat box. I invite you to add your celebration. So I'm going to add this over my shoulder to add a little color. And I want you to share with us the names that are important to you, be added into our Book of Remembrance for the Commission of the Status of Women. This is the 10th annual year, and many people have been remembered in the past. This is your time to share who you'd like us to know.
May Nakao, Clifford Cloutier, Robin King, Kino Trieber Hesselman, Rosita Gottlieb, Zamira Birnbaum,
Melody Land, Valerie Russell, June Barron, Maggie Harrell, Reverend Alan Fisher, Her Highness, Sir Guru Mata Savanir, Lucille Green, Lola, Joan Yagahara, Ayada Rahada Lau, Kevin Koenig, Isa and Malika Nassau,
Divine Mother Flora, Tokyo Marumoto and Nori Marumoto, Beloved Divine Mother, Ayat Kandora, Rhoda Lau, Kevin Konagi, Isa and Malika Nassar, Aki Yoshi Nurmam and Michael Nomura, Sue Welsh, Raymond Wong,
Dr. Harry Lerner, Sherry Mayo, Dr. Jeffrey Sack. That some have longer things, and know that any names that are coming before you that are not read aloud will be printed in this book, and we treasure each of you participating with the memory that's special to you. Emmy Tommy, Michael Emma Burkuru, Dr. Jeffrey Siegel, Richard Carlson Jr.,
Annie Ho, Sam Ono and Misuko Ono, Priska Madama, Dominio Madama, Serfina Asuncion, Andy Tomsuro, Gloria Lutenberger and Kath Riston,
Trisha Finn, Pete Booster Turre, Sophie Heads, Alexandra Petrol, Ellen Oda, Bob Thomas Shiro,
Eugenio Matteo, Maria Matteo, Garwood and Roberta Heads,
Hiro Ochi, Adele Zorab, Makio Suro, Adele Zorab, Adette Bragler, Elizabeth Moon Otter. It's so hard to read these as they're blurring as they go up, but your prayers are so important. Keep them flowing, please. Andrew Tamashiro,
Jeffrey Siegel, Richard Carlson, Mrs. Lujan, Meg Lomas and Myrna Galt, Tom and Nellie Tays, Linda Benson, Maid Arandos, Ellen Oda, Harriet Eitelman, Flora and Matsuo Miyama,
Grace Cunningham, Makoko Samidi, James Mead, Samuel, Danny, and Constantine Mateo,
Sophie Heads, Alexandra Petrov, Ellen Oda, Sean Melem, Bob Tomasaro, Sherry Mayo, Elvin Ichimaya and Natalie Ichiyama,
Josie Toda, Marian, Michael Oda, Elizabeth Singer, May Nakeo,
Divine Mother Flora Nomi, Makiko Usuro, William Butak, Margaret Stevens,
Rita Arena, Nicholas Bragg, Adi, Francis Nager, Nellie and Tom Tassie, Tom Evans,
Diana Lim, Kenji and Grace Kuzomuto, Kathy Higgins, Boris Petrov, Mariko Hoy, Michael Murray, Bess Truston, Grace Cunningham, James Madia, Samuel, Danny, and Constance Mateo,
Tina Lee, Mary Lomas, Edna and Asa Gucci, Michael Kawamura, Don Fisher, Marilyn Fisher, Michael Merle,
Michael Oda, Pierre Grander, Sarah Mansour, Rita Arena, Nicholas Brigadier, Wanda Walter,
Charlotte Waterlow, Michael Morale, Grandpa Nomi, Melon Junko Murakami, Pamela Ware. I'd like us to hold the people who died in the fires and other environmental catastrophes in Hawaii and around the world. And also the women and children who died in armed conflict in all the parts of the world.
Michael Muria, Grandpa Nomi, Mel and Junko Murakami, Pamela Ware, Tom Evans, Paul and Mary Carlson, George Lee, Francis Woodley, Frank Woodley, Mom and Dad, and Raymond Tanaka,
Jean Petrov, Tracy Carlson, Denise Liliana,
Frank Woodley, Salma McKeimer, Tom Anton, Thomas Lee,
as we prayed for these wonderful people who've been in each of the lives who was touched enough to have us remember them. Let us be thankful we knew them. Let us be grateful we can pray for one another's loves. Let us be grateful that we can hold the grief of the problems that people are facing in today's world as they are dealing with those who are dying and near death. Let us hold those we have honored today in a most special place as part of this 10th service of gratitude and remembrance for the Commission on the Status of Women. People are not forgotten. They've shifted into a different place. But in our hearts, we've met new people who have gone before us, who have shaped everyone on this call in some way. Together, we make a difference as we hold the past and create the future. May you be blessed. I thank each person for adding the prayers you wanted added. And I've had some written before that I will also add. So know that your prayers are remembered. And I turn it back to you, Audrey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Monica Willard and Tami Briggs, whose beautiful harp music we heard during the contributions of names to the memory book. And please know that even though your loved ones and those that you wanted to have remembered were not called out, do know that their names will be added to the memory book. And thank you so much for contributing their names into our chat box. And we give our thanks to Grove Harris, Denise Scotto, Ivy Koek, Maver, and Fumi Stewart, and to each and every one of you for joining us today. Remembering those who have touched our lives in such a meaningful and moving way, I light this candle now of remembrance and gratitude to all those who lit the candle with its beautiful light in our hearts that have given us strength, inspiration, and love, and who live on forever without end in our deepest appreciation and gratitude. My special thank you to John Anderson, who is with us today, for giving his permission to us to play his beautiful candle song to close out our program in remembrance of all those who have lit the candle in our lives in the most meaningful and moving ways.
watching wonderment as each day begins. They tell me you